May meeting to order. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for being here today. Phil texted me a couple of days ago and said he would not be here today, so we'll have to operate without Phil today. All right. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Lawton.
Here.
Luddington. Patrick.
Here.
Bruner.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Farnham.
Here.
And Voigt.
Here. Okay, next item on the agenda is minutes, approved minutes from April 13th, 22 regular meeting and April 21st, 22 special meeting. Are there any additions or corrections or questions about the minutes as presented by the clerk? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes, both sets. Please. Andy and Russ. Assume there's no more questions. All those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. Claims against the county. You've had those for a couple of days. Are there any questions or clarifications that are needed? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve those bills, please? Dan moves. Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. County board member claims, you've had those for a couple of days. Are there any questions or clarifications needed? Hearing none, motion to approve. Andy moves. Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are carried. Thank you. Public comment. We ask the audience if they have any comments for the board. We ask that you simply identify yourself and restrict your comments to 5 minutes. Are there any public comments this morning? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go on to number 8, Highway Resolution authorizing County Board Chairman to sign BLR 5530 with Civil Design Inc., Shiloh Township Rebuild, Illinois project as designated by the number. Are there any questions other than what we had on Monday morning? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve this resolution, please? Andy moves. Russ seconds. Any further discussion? Mr. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Certainly. Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
And Farnham.
Yes.
It is approved. The next 3 items have to do with the State's Attorney's Office, and they are designed in this order so that everything is, the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and we do it properly. This has been reviewed in addition by the State's Attorney's Office, and it wasn't just something that Augie and I just cooked up. So, first item is to accept the resignation of Mark R. Isef, State's Attorney, effective June 1, 2022. Any discussion? Motion? Carl moves. Andy seconds. Mr. Clerk.
Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes. Okay, it is accepted, and we wish him well. Declare the vacancy in the office of State's Attorney, due to resignation of Mark R. Isef and his appointment as resident circuit judge of Edgar County by the Illinois Supreme Court, which is effective June 1, 2022. Any comments? Motion? Dan moves. Carl seconds. Roll, please.
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Okay, that is declared, and the clerk will notify the parties involved. I think there's a 3-day window there to do it, and then they have 60 days. Well, they don't have 60 days, do they? That they have to choose a candidate to run in the election by what? June?
July 27th.
That's what I said, July 20th. So, at any rate, that will be done. Okay, the next resolution is to appoint Tim Gilbert as state's attorney, effective June 1, 2022, until December 5th, 2022, to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Mark R. Isaac. Comments or questions? Just so you'll know, we did take some time on Monday morning to discuss everything with Tim, and look forward, if there's a successful resolution, to him continuing the work of the state's attorney's office. Motion? Carl moves. Lisa seconds. Mr. Clerk.
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
and Farnum.
The appointment is made, and Tim Gilbert is now Edgar County State's Attorney, effective June 1, 2022. The next 3 items have to do, next 4 items have to do with the health department, and they would be the resolutions or motions would be effective immediately. Okay, first one is to accept with regret the resignation of Dan Brunner for the Edgar County Board of Health. Discussion? Motion? Andy moves. Russ seconds. Do we need a roll call?
That's up to you.
Yeah, go ahead and do a roll
Sir.
call.
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Present.
Ellis,
Yes.
and Farnum.
Yes.
Okay, it is accepted. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Next item is to appoint Lisa Ellis to the Edgar County Board of Health to finish the term of Dan Brunner until November 30th, 2022, and that appointment would be effective immediately. Motion? Carl moves. Russ seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
and Farnum.
Yes.
The appointment is made. Thank you, Lisa. Next, appoint Allison Williams to the Edgar County Board of Health to fill the vacancy created by the passing of Cindy Belt, with the term ending 12/31/22, and that would be effective immediately. Motion? Carl moves, Lisa seconds. Mr. Clerk.
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Thank you that Allison is appointed. We look forward to having her on the board and a long tenure after this one expires. Okay, appoint Scott Ingram to the Edgar County Board of Health with a term ending 12/31/24, and that would be effective immediately. And Russ moves.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
point out that this is an additional board member,
Right.
not filling a spot, just we added a additional person to the board.
As Carl says, we're expanding the board to 9. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've had trouble there getting a quorum too, so this might make a difference too.
Right, and it, from going to 8 to 9 does not affect the quorum count, because if you have 8, you still have to have 5.
Right.
And if you have 9, you still have to have 5, so there's a better opportunity. So who was the second on that? Carl seconded, okay? Mr. Clerk?
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
and Farnum.
Yes.
And the appointment is made. And the clerk will notify the health department and what else do we do? Do we do a letter to the folks that have been appointed?
We generally haven't, but I certainly can.
Yeah, well, I mean, as.
I'll notify them.
Right, that's fine. Next item is to reappoint John Chittick, Greg Henry, and Dale English to the Farmland Committee. That's the committee that works with the Supervisor of Assessment. And they do have a public hearing once a year to review the ins and outs of how farmland is assessed. Usually they have an individual in from the state that explains that, and they disseminate information, and these three have been, I think, very successful. I think this is their third appointment to this board, and we're pleased that they wanted to serve again. Any questions about this appointment? Motion to approve these appointments. Russ and Carl. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, thank you. They are appointed. Okay, next is we have a request from the Chrisman Sesquicentennial Committee for the maximum amount available from Hotel Motel Tax Fund for advertising and promotion for the Sesquicentennial September 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th in Chrisman 2022. And I know that what Marvin means is he's asking, I couldn't give him a target amount. It's just what you feel like we can, they'll take anything or gratefully that we can send them out of the fund. So, discussion? There's $948.23 in that fund. Yes,
I
Dan?
make a motion, we give them 500.
Okay.
What did we give last time?
Well, I think we gave him 500, but
What do you think?
Lisa, you thought we was talking 700.
Since it's more than just their average annual event, let's do $750.
And that's why I asked who all uses it. They're the only ones that use it, so
yeah.
they take it in. That's why we took it in. So
You
It all
want to?
come basically from Chrisman
Yes.
into that.
Yeah, there's
fund.
three, well, for Hume and Chrisman and then Scotland.
Yeah.
So it's all in that north end. So Dan, was your motion for
All change to
750?
make 750.
Okay. And Lisa seconds?
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution as to acceptance of office oath and bond for Ben Lucan as trustee for the Paris Community Fire Protection District. Motion to approve? Yeah, Carl and Lisa. Any discussion of that? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying.
It's a resolution.
Is it a resolution? I'm sorry, man.
Lawton,
yes,
Patrick,
yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farner.
Yes.
The resolution is approved. Next is a resolution, I'll pay attention, as to the reappointment of Ben Lucan, trustee, Paris Community Fire Protection District. Motion? Carl moves, Andy seconds. Would you call the roll?
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Farner.
Okay, that is accepted. Next item is to authorize the chairman to sign the addendum, pardon me, for the contract we have, professional services agreement on jail needs assessment study with Klingner and Associates. And that agreement covers, let's see, code compliance studies, including life safety codes, and you have a copy of it there. I think you just gave them one, didn't you, Josh? Evaluation of architectural structures, elements, including wall, roof, exterior walls and doors. Evaluation of interior walls, also, and structure. Let's see, am I reading the right one? Hang on a second, there was a very succinct, I know what I did. Hang on, this will be easier for you to understand. Okay, architectural evaluation of buildings that may be purchased. And that's on page, the very last page, where it talks about fee proposed. Geotechnical services for the possible addition of 2 new parcels. Survey and civil site design. Environmental assessment, which would include phase 2, which would be determination of contaminants coming from outside sources, so we know what we're dealing with, from local gas stations to the northwest and to the southeast. Okay? Yes?
The question I have, is this additional cost or is this with the
It's additional cost.
additional, did they give us a ballpark figure?
Yeah, last page. It's 39.9, Carl,
Okay.
not to exceed. I'm sorry, I thought you were looking at that page, Carl, I didn't mean to.
Didn't have the glasses.
Okay, so we needed to move forward to know these questions in order to make final decision. All of this work would be done starting immediately, and it would be done by the end of June. Okay? Questions, and I know you're just getting this thrown at you right now. We talked a little about it on Monday, just in describing what it was, not in detail, so. Yes, Andy?
No, nothing.
These are things that, in order to make final determinations on site, I thought that phase 1 that we were doing in some of the borings was going to get us that, and I didn't understand with what we were doing at Coles County. I didn't understand that environmental for phase 1 did not include they did borings, but that was for structure. And the ability of the soil to carry the structures that we're going to put on it. Phase 2 then goes in, they identified in phase 1 where possible sources are, but then you have to do phase 2 to actually bore those areas and determine that they are not polluting our site. Okay? Outside sites polluting our site. Okay?
So this is for the areas to the north, and I know the other day we were talking about across the street to the south.
Right, that'd be the southeast. That
And
we
is
would-
that,
That is included.
okay,
And also the place on the north side across from that one place where,
right,
yeah, that's included.
okay.
And then the one immediately to the north. Okay, all of those things they've identified as they don't believe they will be, but they said they could be, so we need to do this to determine that. Okay? Any further questions? Motion? Andy moves. Carl seconds. Any further discussion? Lisa, did you have any? I know we're throwing this at everybody, I'm sorry.
Good.
Can you call the roll, please?
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
and Farnum.
Yes.
Next item is authorize county board chairman to sign a consulting agreement for Edgar County capital improvement planning and guidance from and with Massey and Massey Associates. About 12 years ago, they did some work for us. We have several projects that they're going to coordinate. One would be the Clinton Road, possibly the courthouse, and working with Klingner to make sure that we tie everything together and that it is aesthetically and culturally and historically appropriate for what we're doing with all of our structures. Okay? And that's not to exceed, I've got it here. I think that's 39 grand too, not to exceed 39 grand. So we're just throwing a little money around this morning, Carl.
Yeah, I got money.
But some of that is, well, most of it is reimbursable Clinton Road, that's reimbursed, you know.
Right.
These are all things that can be reimbursed. But we need to get ourselves in a position where we know what's going on. For example, where's the entrance and exit gonna be to the courthouse? How are we gonna affect the outside and the flow with prisoners and public, and the same way down at the other place? And there's a lot of work to be, or up at the jail site, so a lot of these things have to be figured out. Andy, did you have anything you want to add? Is there a motion? Carl moves, Dan seconds. I'm sorry, Andy moves, Dan seconds. Yeah, Andy put a big hand. All right, change it to Dan moves, Andy seconds.
Are you sure?
Yes, that way Dan's not offended. Okay? Yeah,
You
Can
not
you-
worried about Carl being offended?
I think so.
no.
Oh, okay.
He was offended when he was. No,
When I started talking,
When he can move.
can you call the roll?
Yes, Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farn.
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about financing and so forth under committee reports, so we can continue that discussion. And catch Russ up, I tried to catch Russ up a little bit earlier. Office department heads and reports. Mr. County Clerk,
Let's see, we start early voting on May 19th, which is coming up very quick. We're busy. And would you like me to comment on the meeting, or would you like to do that under your report, Lisa?
Go ahead.
So we met with Bellwether, the department heads, and we reviewed the draft personnel policy. And we received the revised draft, and there were a few changes that needed to be made. They were just simply typos. And however, well, I put that out for all the department heads to take a look at, and I've only received a few comments back yet. So on top of that, and I haven't had enough time to thoroughly go over it, but I think we're nearing the completion of the revision. Is that fair and accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
we're gratified that the folks have already got back to us. Did you say that? I was,
Well, okay.
Yeah,
Not-
I
Not
mean,
so much, but yes.
we've gotten feedback already, and we've had to make some corrections. Everybody was paying attention, and they seem to care about what's going on. Right, Lisa?
I agree.
Yeah, and I'll point out, there are no significant changes in benefits or anything like that. It's more of just updated statutes, just updating the policy. So-
And it gave different department heads a chance to discuss where they didn't operate the same and whether or not they wanted to or not. But it led to some good discussion.
To that point, I was able to talk to Tim Gilbert about clarifying the policy that has carryover vacations, so it's clear. And I haven't heard back from him. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Tim, because I don't know whether you're willing to talk about that. We need that in writing anyway, but that was one area that I think everybody agreed was a little too loose, and we needed clarification. So we're still waiting to hear, and when we get that, we'll integrate that into and run it by everybody involved and make sure that they understand what's going on. Okay? Yes?
Is each employee of the county required to get a evaluation every year?
I don't think that's in the policy.
We do, hospital got it too, this one.
Well, and that's one of the things, Lisa, please, I mean, you asked the same question.
I did.
And you do have the form ready now
I
that,
have the form. It's basically the one that we had used, just with some minor tweaks. And I gave it to Augie and Jeff yesterday to take a look at. And if you're in agreement, you could go ahead and distribute that to department heads as a suggested form. And then if you would just keep, if you would be the keeper of the original document, you and I.
Okay, sure.
It might even be included in the package eventually, and even be available online to our department heads. So, at any rate. Is that,
Yeah.
do you have anything else to
No,
report?
that's it.
Okay.
What's the date of the primary?
I'm sorry, it's June 28th.
28th.
Yes.
Pretty young review.
Josh, do you have anything from the highway? Adam, since we weren't able to hear from you on Monday, do you have, I know you have a report, so,
Yeah, I'll give you guys my usual report the next study session, all your paper copies. April, it was an average month for us, so nothing too crazy. You guys probably heard about the school bus accident out 150. Luckily, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Just letting you guys know, we had, all 3 units were dedicated to that. Luckily, we only needed 2 of the 3 and a third unit returned to service. And I had two more crews on standby at the bay. And granted, I only had 1 more truck to send them out in, but we had a total of 5 crews available for that. Chrisman came down to Malfunction Junction to stage, then I had 2 aircraft inbound, so did open up some training opportunities for the future. So we'll do some joint training with District Parish Fire and on school bus / mass casualty, just kind of not something we see a ton of, so definitely everything went as well as it could. We had extrication done in less than 10 minutes, which is pretty amazing. But there are some training opportunities that came out of that, so we followed up on that, but everything went honestly as well as it could have. Like I said, I'll get you guys your reports next study session. You guys have anything for me?
any questions of Adam at this point? Okay, we'll see you at the study session. Jill, as the director?
I wasn't at April's meeting, so I don't know if I told you, but we got our water heater fixed and put in, and my door is fixed. You can open it, you can kick it open, and it doesn't catch and it shuts, whatever, so Ray did an awesome job with that. So, like I said, how many years?
Only
we're
took
gonna-
10 years.
Right, but like I said, it works awesome, and now we want everybody to come through the front door now. June 7th is our final hazard mitigation meeting. I think it's a small committee meeting at first, and then it's open to the public after that, to put in any comments, feedback, or whatever. She will put our draft, like here, I think she has to have it out, like, I don't know, so many days, whatever, but it'll be out for everyone to see and view, if they have any feedback, questions, things like that. Other than that, we had a exercise meeting the end of April. We are basically every, first responders, all that stuff are gonna be at the fair for the big, concert. So I got it approved from IEMA to do it as a real life event. So we are all, I guess, working together and communications and all that kind of stuff for that. And then we still plan on doing some type of exercise in the fall.
Any questions? Tom?
Our long-awaited main hangar doors have been installed and are operational, so that's very positive. Probably next week, we'll start excavating the taxiway from last fall's problems that we had resurfacing it. And we had our first pre-construction meeting on the runway resurfacing, which will be bid out in August. And April was not a very good month for gasoline sales due to the inclement weather.
Any other questions of Tom?
Who's doing the dirt work out there?
We've secured a very qualified outfit called the Edgar County Highway
Are
Department.
there?
Okay.
So they're gonna do the dirt work and then after that,
Open Road will come in and do the paving.
resurf. All right.
We're only taking out material, we're not
Right.
putting anything in. Okay? So, that's all been negotiated. Tim, do you have anything?
Sure, I can. Just a little update, obviously, we've got June 1st on our calendar, because that's the day when lots of things are gonna change. But, we are working diligently to make sure that transition is the least bumpy that it can be. At the same time, I think I had mentioned we're on record pace for filing felonies this year. We might get to 300. But at the same time, I think we're also doing a much better job resolving. I think I had said earlier, we're doing maybe 8 a month. This month, it seems like it's gonna be better than that. We did 5 felony resolutions on Monday, 3 last Friday, so we're already above 8 for this month. So we're making progress on that. At the same time, of course, we still need to improve efficiency a little bit, because we're filing 25 a month at this point, so we've got to even things out a little bit between our filings and our closings in order to start to cut back on the backlog that we've got. But I think things are moving in the right direction, and again, that is due to largely having a full-time public defender who can dedicate himself to these cases, and who's in the county, so he can go to the jail and meet with people, and he's doing that. And getting resolutions to us and proposals to us, and also having a full-time assistant who can handle those and deal with them as they come in as well. So I think things are looking in a positive direction and on the right track.
The board did make your appointment, Tim, and we congratulate you and wish you the best.
Thank you.
We stand ready to listen to any needs that you have. We can't promise you the moon, but if there are legitimate things that you think that can improve our judicial system over time and its effectiveness, please let us know and come before us. Anybody else?
And thank you, and just know that I can promise you guys I'm gonna do my best over these 6 months.
Thank you, Tim. Hi, Wyatt.
Morning.
How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good. Do you have anything that, on your mind or anything?
Nothing in particular, just wanted to see if anybody had any questions, comments about all the stuff we've been working on, or if, there's anything we can do for you guys, whether it's the stuff we've worked on or other things, we're here to help, so.
And you have been, and we appreciate that. I think Lisa has.
I have a question, I guess it's for the two of you. In the past, at what point do you do forums for elected official candidates?
We have not done one since I've been here. I know we kicked around doing one. I think, if I remember right from our board meeting, we typically have done it after the primaries. And the last thing that was done was quite a few years ago, and it was the sheriff's race.
Any other questions of what? Yes.
Along with, we were talking about the solar, back prior to us doing it, you'd been contacted by people over there in the Kansas area that as soon as we signed something, they were gonna jump on it. Have we had any
We have had,
contact?
we have had, I think we're gonna get one shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Go ahead, Lisa.
As I say, I've fielded some calls because the instruction was to just give me a call. So I've had a couple of different entities and attorneys call me, and I've given them a copy of the ordinance and just stated that to make sure they pay attention to the section on tile and on ESDA, because we take those two very seriously. And one of them did state that they did plan to submit, and so I'd also let Dina know if there's anything that she wanted to be thinking about in advance, to make sure she had her, because it'll start with her.
Any further questions? Okay, as far as the budget that that you have in front of you and the cash flow, there's not a whole lot to say. The current balance keeps increasing. If you'll notice, we have had to borrow money from the general fund to make FICA and tort payments, and we'll have to do that for another month or so. That by design we figured probably would happen, but it also means that we didn't feel like increasing, the board didn't feel like increasing taxes enough to not have that happen. This is a critical time on taxes and us to carry a huge balance so that we, it doesn't cost us any money to borrow from ourselves. So this just seemed a more appropriate way to handle it. Any questions about that? Okay, the budget itself, I'd like you to note on page 1, the personal replacement tax. I've never seen, and neither has Don, seen a replacement tax payment of roughly 119,000. We projected taking in 220, and we've already taken in 299,000 bucks in 3 months, and that doesn't include, and we're 2 months behind. Remember, we're always 2 months to 3 months depending on the fund. So there's going to be an initial amount that's going to be greater already than what we projected to be in there. And then don't forget that they're going to send us money through that fund for the sheriff once that takes place December 1st. Of course, that will be in next year's budget. So it's just kind of interesting. Also, down on
For
go
your
up
Levite subject, Jeff, I have a question. What is personal property tax?
replacement. When you sell or buy ground, remember when we received the Kreckman building, and there was like $19,000 due on the Kreckman building? That's a personal replacement requirement, and we had to pay that because of the way it was written,
So, but where does this come from?
The state of Illinois, they collect it, I'm sorry.
I guess I don't understand where do they collect it from?
Well, when the attorneys and if they collect it, it's taxes due by the owner or the purchaser, and that has to be of a business, and they have to pay that. And I don't understand all of the mechanism to tell you who actually collects it, but the state treasurer collects it, Department of Revenue collects it, and I think it has to do with. I'd have to go back and review. Do you remember who we paid that to?
So what happens is when you sell your property, you got P-tax. It's an acronym, and that's the tax money that goes into the state. And that happens every time
Anytime any property is sold in Edgar County?
it is sold, yes.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I see.
And there's a formula.
Who do they pay it to? They don't pay
Well,
it to your office, or
well,
do
we
you collect it and
yes.
then send it on to the state?
They pay it to us, and then we deposit it and then send it on to the state.
So a portion of it comes back to us or stays with us?
A portion of it comes back. We get to keep a little of that ourselves, but
For administration and stuff.
yeah, just to hang on.
So
to.
when any property sold, there's a tax. I wasn't aware of that.
Well, obviously, I wasn't clear on it either.
Yeah,
but-
now just straight up transfers back and forth, unless there's an actual sale, but if I sell you my property for $1, there's no tax on that. There has to be a certain value in there.
And you might notice the state income tax is never, we can't remember being that high. And our share of the state income tax is up to $175,000 just this past month alone, and again, we're a couple of months short. In other words, you think that's 3 months, the 396. But we've got another 9 months to go of that, even though we're, 5, 6 months into the year, because we have the accrual system. So that's going to be an appropriate thing. Let's see, I guess there's nothing else on that page. Anyway, we're collecting at the proper rates. Notice on the back page that we have the month actual, we were, our total expenses and revenues were $346,000 to the good, and $346,000 for the year. We're down on the budget, but we've collected no property taxes, and we're 2 to 3 months behind on collecting revenues on an accrual basis. So that would more than make up that and more. Let's see. Don wanted me to let you know that most likely, and we had Dina in with us, that the tax bills would be due in August and October. August and October. Instead of like last year, which we were July and September. So, and he doesn't see any reason that we do any accommodation other than what we do already for fees and penalties. Okay? Any questions? On the sheriff's budget, Carl, I'm sure you already noticed that the deputy overtime is, 330-some thousand, let's see, 46,000 in overtime against a $60,000 budget. So we're well into, what are we, into 5 months? No, we're 6 months in right now. So it's just concerning. So we meet periodically with the sheriff and his administration, and we'll talk to them about it, okay?
Something I didn't say anything when we were paying bills, but I noticed we paid Stewart over in Springfield $2,000 some on a issue with discipline or something like that, and I think I want an explanation from the sheriff on what all took place.
Right.
Spending $2,000 on just.
Well, I think we had another, it wasn't all on that. I think I've had a couple of calls questioning on things that we're doing. In other words, the personnel policy. We wanted to make sure, and on the evaluation form. But there is a significant portion of that, and I talked to Derek yesterday about that, and he was I told him that I wanted to talk to him because he'd let me know about that issue. And he was gonna talk to the sheriff, and told him we were gonna need an explanation, and that basically that the attorney was the board's attorney and not really available for just pick up the phone and raise hell with.
Right.
Okay?
So we need an explanation on
Yep.
that next time we get together.
Yep. So they're aware, and I'll talk to them again. Anything else how about committee reports? Danny?
We had an unfortunate incident at the shelter a couple of days ago. Andrew called me, so I went out to the emergency room. I checked on the person, and it wasn't that bad. So I think maybe it's been taken care of. I think it's been turned in to the correct people, so not much to do about it. It just happened. Andrew says first time in 11 years that it's happened. So.
They were handling a dog, Carl, and the gentleman reached down to pet him, and he went for his face.
Right.
Oh,
Get a couple in, cut here and cut here, so. No, it could have been a lot worse. But, I mean, I guess dogs sometimes sense something wrong with a person. I don't know how you go about it. So. Unfortunate incident.
So like our insurance, I assume we
I
contacted.
think it's all been taken care of, yeah,
Okay,
and written up and so forth.
fine.
Andy?
I got ahold of Larry. Have you, he said, he thought it had been completed. He was on vacation last week and he left instructions to finish the jail. And he said, I thought it was done. So he said, I'll get right on it. So, other than that.
Have you been out to the coroner's office?
It's about done.
Yeah. Did they finish the electrical yet, or
There
does?
was a guy parked this morning there, so I think they're finishing.
They're
it up.
almost
It's supposed to be done this week, I don't know,
Yeah.
the electric. And then I think about that's the only thing left is Ross to do the internet stuff, I think it's pretty much done, other than.
And Scott's gonna have carpet put in in just the office part. And I think Scott was out of his budget gonna put a garage door opener on it. And what else? I think Dirk said that, and Jimmy said that they were gonna help him set the refrigeration up, which is not a big deal.
I was gonna say, he's
According
gonna
to
need some help
Jim.
moving some stuff.
Right.
Yeah, good.
So, looks nice. It has not been asphalted, but Jimmy actually thought maybe it would just be oil and chipped in front would be sufficient rather than asphalting. But that's up to you guys, but that's what
It's
Jimmy
not gonna
said.
get a lot of use.
No,
So,
but I think we don't want open rock that somebody can fall on or family or anything. So we need to have it sealed in some fashion. Don't you agree?
yeah.
Russ? Carl?
Nothing.
Lisa?
No.
Okay, have you guys thought more about the report we got from Eric on the financing? Are you prepared to talk about that at all, or what are your thoughts? I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I need to find out from Eric how soon rates may go up again.
Well, he talked like twice a month.
Could be twice a month.
Yeah, and I personally think it's something we probably need to discuss quickly, and if we're going to, we need to move on it.
Right, because the final is not gonna be done for 2 or 3 months, but he would, if we called him up
He'd like a
today,
commitment.
he
We can lock
would,
in.
he would lock in the cost, or the interest rate right this second. So, and I know you weren't here, Russ, so, Carl, did you have a comment?
Well, I guess I'd like to know what the interest rate potentially could be with USDA. You know, we need to have contact with them to see it, you know, is there a significant difference between the bank and USDA? I know we talked the other day about,
There is a chance they would still consider us, and we could go ahead and put in the application even though we had the money from another source. That doesn't mean, they would still consider that.
yeah, at what point, I know there was some talk there a few months ago about at what point do we need to have everything, our ducks in a row, to get that locked in through the USDA?
Okay, we're not gonna be at that point until, what, November?
And then she said currently it's taken about 6 months to get through applications, and the rate won't be locked in until the application is approved. Because it has to go to DC for the value and everything else. And they're running about 6 months right now on applications.
So we're
So it's a
talking
year.
Sometime
almost
next
a year from now before we could lock rates
Right.
in through the USDA. And, you know, if interest rates keep going up, there's no way that,
Yeah.
and then there was a concern that you had that Eric pointed out that the first 6 months we have to spend 500,000, and then in 3 years we have to have the rest of it spent.
75%.
So are we gonna be at that point that we can have that much spent, depending on how, it just seems like things are moving kind of slower at this point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, well, one of the things that's gonna continue to slow us up if we go with the USDA, is, and Josh can speak to this probably better than me, but like the $250,000 project that we have on the courthouse is gone from 250,000 to 418.
Something, I think that's about right.
And part of the issue is that you've got to get all these permits, you've got to do all the studies, and we're doing them, but then you're dealing with people over in Springfield that are not, well, I'm trying to be kind, not sensitive
Sure.
to our needs and construction costs and,
And if there's another emergency like COVID, they shut down the whole program for over a year where they weren't even dealing with anything. So we had to wait an additional year just so they could start picking up the applications again.
and then it's been a year,
Yeah.
and then they double checked on things and they had questions, and I don't mean to downplay this, but I'm not sure that the USDA is the best direction to head on this, quite frankly.
I like local if we could too.
Well, the other part of your question is, what do we do if we can't? Well, I think it depends on the scope of what we're gonna do. And he's preparing a scope. If we include the school and the roof,
Land acquisition.
land acquisition,
Engineering.
the studies we are
Right.
doing,
I mean, you got your engineering costs, that's what, quarter of, almost, not quarter, but a few million right there, just in architect's fees and everything.
Right.
So that's all included in
I
your
think
prices.
and if we don't, the worst that happens is you pay it back and it's cost you, I'm not saying that we shouldn't say that any loss is, but it's gonna cost us something.
Well, there also is a chance, and I think it's probably a pretty realistic chance, that if you borrow and lock in now and interest goes up, it may not cost us anything.
Right,
We could put that money in a CD while you're waiting to use it,
right.
and if interest goes up, we'll actually,
So if it's 4.3 and we can get 2.1 right, or 1.2 right now, it's not that that's not money, but it's doable.
do you think we need to check with, I'm trying to figure out, Klinger won't necessarily be the one we go with, correct?
No, not necessarily. We're gonna have to do it.
We need to look at timeframes of.
We could do that, once he gets this, that's why I've been pushing this study. Once he gets that done, we could put up another RFQ in July and hire our permanent architect on the deal.
Okay.
Just need a site, basically.
What?
Basically need your site selection.
Right, and in order to do the site, we needed this
This
key. And then we can go, boom. If you wait till we're dealing with USDA,
Right.
you may not be able to do that for another year.
Well, and that's a minimum year.
Yeah, no, I'm
I mean,
trying
'cause
to
you
be,
remember when we did the USDA thing once before, and
Oh.
every time you turned around, well, we need this, we need this.
and that's what I'm afraid of.
I am too.
I think we still let it flow in case something else blows. But I think that we kind of have, maybe not a policy decision, but have in the back of our minds that maybe this might be the best way to go. And it's local. We can refinance at any time without penalty from the get-go.
I mean,
And
you've
then-
got two big variables. One of them's interest, the other's price of material.
Right.
You at least can kind of hedge on one, because you can't do anything about material. It's gonna be what it's gonna be somewhat, but.
And I'm gonna interject something here that's not directly, but we talked a little bit about the courthouse roof. They have found, and Core has found, 3 roofing firms. One is an architectural roofing firm that would be willing to talk to us about doing that. And they are actively, all the drawings are done for the bid. And they are to Core. And Core is actively seeking information so they can come up with cost estimates on doing the roof system. Not the elevator at this point, just the roof system. Now, Michael said that he thinks that we should be in a position maybe to bid it this fall for construction next year, is what he would recommend at this point. Doesn't mean that we have to accept a bid, but based on, they would have, in the next month or so, by August at the very least, cost estimates based upon Corps' seeking and talking to people about what they know was happening in the construction world. And to go along with that, Josh and Don have been both notified that the other rescue funds, the other half of those monies are, if they're not on their way, they're at least getting ready to put that into our coffers. And remember, that's 1.666. So it's a fairly significant amount. So back on the original thing, how do you want to proceed? Do you want to, we don't have another study session for 2 weeks. What is it, the 23rd or 22nd, somewhere in there? Hang on.
9/14 is 23. 23.
That's a long time to wait, but
We could have a special meeting in between. I would like to check with, and I'm not sure whether it's Coles County or who, to see if that's a possibility that we could be ready and able to spend within a 3-year period.
I'm sorry, I don't understand why we would check with Coles County.
Well, or who puts out the proposal that,
For the new architect?
yes,
We do.
we do it ourselves,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, they have
Right.
nothing to do, they're only, again, and it's been a long time,
Okay.
they've got that 175,000 or
Yes.
whatever. And when they're done with that, we're able to then apply to USDA. They have nothing to do or have
Well, no.
anything to do with the architect.
Yeah, not USDA. Is that,
USDA.
okay?
Well, Michael, I think what you're getting at, Michael gave us I asked him, what's the timeline for all this, and I think it was like 4 years from now,
Right.
if everything went right, before we would be in the facility. So I guess your question is, can we
Could we-
get all this done in that 3-year time frame?
I want to make sure, yeah.
I see,
That
I'm sorry,
he
but that
says-
doesn't involve Coles. What?
No.
Part of
Okay,
that includes, his timeline includes the delays and time period it takes for USDA as well.
right.
If you're not applying until this fall, and then you have to wait for their approval, and then you do ask for architects after that, you're delaying that out. If we apply, if you get your selection in July or whatever, we can start that process, so maybe you can have an architect picked this fall, and
Okay.
they can be started. Because, depending on how quick you want to do RFQ and how much time you give everybody to prepare, you can have somebody selected in 2-3 months.
So the USDA is basically what's drawing that
Because we
timeline.
can't do anything on their part until this application part's finished, and they can still keep working on that and apply to USDA that fall, and you have somebody selected and working already if you decide to go the other route.
Okay.
Does that,
Yeah, I guess
So you
I
can
thought
have
Cole
quicker-
County had something to do with that process, that's why I said that.
no,
But that's.
that's
okay,
us.
That's. well,
That's
we
not
need to
within their
dec-
scope.
We need to decide which route we're gonna go.
Well, you can still go both routes.
Okay.
And then you'd have a set of plans already drawn, and so that by the time they made the decision, you'd be ready to go.
Okay. Well, I think that's, if we are thinking about doing that, then I think that's probably the route we ought to go is.
Something else I got to think of.
Don't you?
I do.
Right.
It's only waiting when you get hired.
Right.
I'd like to talk to someone that's done this type of project that Eric explained to us, some other county or municipality. If he can give us some references, someone that's done this, that we can call them and say, hey, what's the pitfalls, what do we need to be concerned about, and, just not just say, well, okay, we'll do what you want to, you're suggesting,
Yeah,
just see what.
Can we go
Experience.
ahead and lock in? We don't have to shoot, I mean, if we wait till we do that, we may lose another month or two.
Right.
If he could call him today and he'd give us some contact, then we could call him this week.
Okay, that's
Just
fine.
to say, hey, you need to worry about this.
Well, he did it with the He gave us two people, but he'd
He's doing
already
it
done
with
it.
School districts. wasn't
Yeah,
he?
the school
Yeah.
district. Yeah, he did this with the school district.
With the District 95, they
Yeah.
just redid their bonds and everything.
Yeah, for the new
I
school.
know, okay, he did say they saved him, what?
650 grand.
650 grand.
Yep.
So that would be, District 95, I assume, and you're on that board. So you were, I guess, I mean, maybe you don't know all the details, but you were pleased with,
Oh, absolutely.
okay.
I'm sitting here trying to think who, then I remembered, heck,
Yeah.
it was, he
Oh.
gave us, I think, two examples here.
Okay. Who was the other one, do you remember?
Do you remember there was two?
Would've been the other school.
Was it,
Who was it? I remember him saying.
yeah, there was another.
Okay, all right.
Well, I'll give Eric a call.
Yeah,
But I think if we can, we need to,
And you might ask him, say, well, you know, if we're gonna do this, if we're gonna do it, I wanna do it pretty quick. There's no sense in thinking about it and losing another, I mean, I think they'll probably raise it another
half.
50% again.
He said all I had to do was pick up the phone and tell him, and that would be enough.
Okay.
Okay? It had happened right then. But I haven't got your,
Right, I was gonna say.
I can't do that. No, I haven't picked up the phone, okay? I don't wanna be out.
A few $1 million.
Well, Jeff, have fun paying back that 10 million bucks.
Jeff's where?
The Bahamas.
Fiji.
So, I'll call Eric, find out who the other one was, and who he dealt with directly with Tom's board. I don't know, I'm sure it was the superintendent, but
Dr. Larson.
Dr. Luck, yeah. So, we can talk to him. When do you wanna have a meeting? Yet this week?
Check with Eric,
Oh, we can't this week, never mind.
yeah, check with Eric and see when the anticipated next rate rise is. And I just want, if we're going to do it, I just wanna make sure we get it in before that.
Okay, that's
Just say
fine.
if we've got a week, and it's nothing's gonna happen for a week, we'll do it next week.
When I leave here, I'm just gonna walk over and talk to him, okay? And tell him we're close, we need to do it formally.
And there's also
So
two different
there-
variable ways we remember, different ways to do it too. So we need to decide which way we want to go.
Well, I think we said local, didn't we?
Well, local, but
There's a-
10,000, 10,000 now, and then,
10 million.
or 10 million.
Oh, yeah, 10 million, yeah.
And then the other part where you could do it all at once, just determine which way we're going to go with that too.
Well, the way you get it all at once is you have to go with the general bond issue. You know, that wouldn't be local. We're only capable of taking $10 million a year through the local banks, but I will double check that,
Okay.
okay? There is an option there for 30 years for that.
Said he could do
16.4,
Right.
but you gotta take 10 1 year and 6 million the following.
He said that right at the end, didn't he? He said,
And he told us that last
Yeah.
week,
Yeah, okay.
but I will get clarification, and maybe he could drop into the meeting to answer any final questions, okay?
Yeah,
Would that be helpful?
yeah.
Because, like I've said all the way along, we'd like to go in pairs, because my thoughts may, or my interpretation of what's said may be different than what your interpretation of what's said,
Right.
okay? Take a buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to come before the meeting today? Okay, motion to adjourn. Andy moves. Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.